Hello students, in last class we already studied about what is total internal reflection, what is critical angle, how refraction takes place through a glass slab, then how compound glass slab behaves, what is lateral displacement, what is apparent depth. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about how refraction takes place through a spherical refracting surface. Okay, so refraction through a spherical refracting surface. Okay, or simply this is denoted by SRS. Okay, what is spherical refracting surface? Basically, refracting surface is a surface which separates two mediums of different refractive index. Clear? So what is refraction through a spherical refracting surface? What is spherical refracting surface or SRS? Spherical refracting surface is such a surface which is a part of a sphere, like as we already studied in spherical mirror that it is a part of a hollow spherical glass. Similarly, the spherical refracting surface is a part of a sphere, glass sphere. So the spherical refracting surface SRS are of two types: concave spherical refracting surface and convex spherical refracting surface. So what is concave? If the refracting surface is like this, if the refracting surface will be like this, it will be concave spherical refracting surface. Clear? The medium of the surrounding let be mu1 and medium of the refracting surface will be mu2. What is convex? It will be like this. If the outer portion is blotched out, so this will be what? Convex spherical refracting surface. This is mu1, this is mu2. This complete surface will be of glass. Clear? So this is concave spherical refracting surface, this is convex spherical refracting surface. This will be their principal axis, this will be the pole, and this is the center of curvature. Here it will be pole and this is the center of curvature. Clear? So this type of spherical refracting surface is known as convex spherical refracting surface. If the outer part is blotched out, and if it will look like this, it will be the concave spherical refracting surface. Okay, so first of all we are going to discuss about how refraction takes place through convex spherical refracting surface and different cases of it. Okay, so our first case will be refraction through convex spherical refracting surface. So first case, refraction through convex spherical refracting surface. Case 1, object in rarer medium and real image is formed. Okay, so the case 1, object in rarer medium and real image is formed. So let us first draw a convex spherical refracting surface like this. Let its name be M dash, and this is the principal axis. Let this point be P, pole. Okay, so on the principal axis, let this is a object O, and this is the center of curvature C of the convex spherical refracting surface. So let a incident ray moves like this, which will intersect at point A. So at this point of incidence, this will be the normal, which is the radius of curvature, and as this is the rarer medium object, so this will be refractive index of mu1 and this medium will be refractive index of mu2. Here mu1 is less than mu2 because object in what? Rarer medium. So as light travels from rarer to denser medium, so after refraction it will bend towards the normal, so it will move like this. So here this will be the image of the object O and this is the real image. So as this is the incident ray, it will make an angle I, angle of incidence with normal, and this is the refracted ray, so it will make an angle R with the normal CA. Clear? Now the angle made by the incident ray with the principal axis, let be alpha. The angle made by the refracted ray with the principal axis, let be beta, and the angle made by the normal or radius of curvature with the principal axis, let be gamma. Clear? So this is the normal CA. Clear? Okay. So now let's draw a perpendicular from point A to the principal axis that will intersect at point N. This is the perpendicular. Okay. So now in this figure, the angle, let this will be the N, C be the normal. So the angle NAO will be how much? The incidence angle I. The angle IAC will be equal to how much? The refracted angle R. The angle AON, this angle will be equal to alpha. Angle ACN will be equal to gamma, and the angle AIC will be equal to the angle beta. Clear? And AN is the normal, is the perpendicular drawn to the principal axis. Okay, clear? This is all about the figure, and object O is in, what is O? O is the real object, and what is I? I is the real image. Clear? And C is the center of curvature. Of spherical refracting surface. Clear? This is all about the figure. Okay. Okay. So now in the triangle OAC. Okay. Just look at this triangle OAC. So in triangle OAC, in this triangle, I is the exterior angle, which is equal to alpha plus gamma. So in triangle OAC, I can write angle I equal to angle alpha plus angle gamma. Clear? Let it be equation 1. I equal to alpha plus gamma. Similarly, in triangle IAC, gamma is the exterior angle, which is equal to R plus beta. Gamma equal to R plus beta. So this implies, from this I can write angle R equal to gamma minus beta. Let it be equation 2. Clear? Where I equal to alpha plus gamma and R equal to gamma minus beta from triangle IAC and OAC. Clear? So again, now in the right angle triangle ANO, I can write tan alpha equal to how much? P by B, which is equal to AN by OP, sorry ON. Okay, again in triangle ANC, this is also a right angle triangle. ANC tan gamma equal to how much? P by B, which is equal to AN by CN. Similarly, in right angle triangle ANI, we will get tan beta equal to P by B, again PAN divided by B equal to how much? IN. Clear? So this is the value of tan alpha, this is tan beta, and this is tan gamma, and this is I equal to this much, alpha equal to this much. Clear? So now here all the angles I, alpha, beta, gamma are very small, and also the aperture of the spherical refracting surface is small. So now we can write, here is the condition, here alpha, beta, gamma angle I are small angles, and the aperture is also small. This is the condition for this spherical refracting surface, because all the rays are paraxial rays. So if all the rays are paraxial rays, then all angles are very small, and as the aperture is very small, so the perpendicular AN is very nearly equal to AP. Clear? So here the angle are very small and the aperture is also small. So as angle are very small, tan alpha can be written as alpha equal to AN by ON, or as aperture is very small, we can write this much AN, ON can be written as OP. Similarly, gamma can be written as AN divided by CP, and similarly beta, tan beta will be beta because angle are very small, can be written as AN divided by IN can be written as IP, as IN is nearly equal to IP, CN is nearly equal to CP, and ON is nearly equal to OP. Clear? This is the condition. Okay, so from this we will get alpha equal to AN by OP. This is the value. Gamma equal to AN by CP, and beta equal to AN by IP, and this is the expression for I, alpha, I equal to alpha plus gamma, R equal to gamma minus beta. Okay, so from this I am writing all these expressions here. Alpha equal to how much? AN by OP, gamma equal to AN by CP, and beta equal to AN by IP. Okay, so now applying Snell's law. Sorry, applying Snell's law, we will get light travel from mu1 medium to mu2 medium, so I can write mu1 sin I equal to mu2 sin R. This implies mu1, as I and R are very small angle, so sin I can be written as I equal to mu2 sin R can be written as R. So this implies we will get mu1. What is I? I equal to alpha plus gamma, so angle alpha plus gamma equal to mu2 into what is R? R equal to gamma minus beta, so angle gamma minus beta. Clear? This implies mu1 into what is alpha? Alpha equal to an by op plus gamma equal to an by cp equal to mu2 into what is gamma? an by cp minus what is beta? an by ip. Clear? This is the expression. This can be written as from both sides n will be taken common and it will get cancelled. So this will become how much? mu1 into 1 by op plus 1 by cp equal to mu2 into 1 by cp minus 1 by ip. As an taken common from both sides and it will get cancelled. So what is op? Here p is the pole, so o is the object. So op is what? Op is the object distance u, and as it is measured from pole opposite to the direction of propagation of light, so it will be minus, negative according to sign convention. What is cp? Cp is the radius of curvature as it is measured along the direction of propagation of incident ray, so it will be plus r. And what is ip? Ip is the distance of the image from pole, so it will be distance of image. This is also plus v. Clear? So now replacing the value, we will get what? This implies mu1 into op is how much? Minus 1 by u plus cp. Cp is how much? r plus 1 by r equal to mu2 into 1 by r minus 1 by v. Clear? This will be the expression. Okay. Okay. So now by solving this, we can write this will become how much? Minus mu1 by u plus mu1 by r equal to mu2 by r minus mu2 by v. So this implies by rearranging this, we will get how much? mu2 by v minus mu1 by u equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. Okay, this is the required expression. You have to remember this formula. What is mu2? Refractive index of the medium to which light is going. mu1 refractive index of the medium from which the light is coming. V is the position of image, u is the position of object, r is the radius of curvature of the spherical refracting surface. Clear? This is the expression, and for numerical solutions you have to use all these with their sign convention. Clear? So mu2 by v minus mu1 by u equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. This is the condition we will get when object is in rarer medium, image is in denser medium, and image is real. Clear? And refraction takes place to the convex spherical refracting surface. Clear? Next case we will study that same refraction through a convex spherical refracting surface. Object is in rarer medium but image is virtual. So now object is in rarer medium but in case of real image the image will be virtual. So all the derivations are mostly common, only the ray diagram will be differ a little bit. Clear? So image is virtual. So now draw the diagram. This is the convex spherical refracting surface. This is the principal axis. Okay, pole m dash. I am taking the naming same because it will be easy to calculate for you. This is center of curvature. Let here be the object. In the previous case, object is at a larger distance from the pole. Now the object is close to the pole. Okay. So the incident ray now coming like this. It strikes here, and at the point of incidence, this is the normal radius of curvature NC, and as it moves from mu1 to mu2, and here mu1 is less than mu2, so rarer to denser medium, so after refraction it will bend towards the normal, so it will bend like this and moves along this direction. And if I extended this, it will touch here. This is the image. Clear? And the image is virtual because the refracted ray appears to diverge from this point. It not really intersect the principal axis at this point. Clear? Again, the angle, this one will be I, this much angle will be R, and the incident ray makes with principal axis alpha, this is gamma, and this angle will be beta. Clear? Okay, so now let's draw a perpendicular, same as the previous case, from this point of incident A to the principal axis AN. Clear? So here again in triangle, this is the angle beta made by the refracted ray with principal axis, angle alpha made by the incident ray with principal axis, and angle gamma made by the normal or the radius of curvature with principal axis, and this angle is I and this much angle will be R. So here in triangle AOC, in triangle AOC, I is the exterior angle which is equal to alpha plus gamma, angle I equal to alpha plus gamma. Clear? And again in triangle AIC, in triangle AIC, R is the exterior angle and beta and gamma are interior angle, so I can write angle R equal to angle beta plus angle gamma. Clear? Equation 2 and this will be equation 1. Okay. AON triangle, I equal to exterior angle which is equal to alpha plus gamma. In the triangle AOC, I equal to alpha plus gamma. Clear? And triangle AIC, in triangle AIC, R is the exterior angle which is equal to beta plus gamma. Clear? So now in the right angle triangle ANI or ANO, in right angle triangle ANO, again we can write tan alpha equal to P by B which is equal to AN by ON, and as aperture is very small, ON can be replaced as OP, so it is nearly equal to AN by OP. Similarly tan beta in triangle AIN, in right angle triangle AIN, tan beta equal to again P by B which is equal to AN divided by IN, and the IN as the aperture is small, again IN is nearly equal to what? IP. Similarly in the right angle triangle ANC, tan gamma equal to P by B which can be again written as AN by CN, and as the aperture is small, AN can be replaced as CN can be replaced as CP, so it will be AN divided by CP. Clear? So as alpha beta, alpha gamma beta, angle I and R are small and aperture is small, also small. This is the condition. So as all the angles are small, so tan alpha can be replaced by alpha which is equal to AN by OP. Tan beta can be replaced by beta which is equal to AN by IP, and tan gamma simply written as gamma which is equal to AN by CP. Clear? And again applying Snell's law, what we will get? If we again apply Snell's law, what we will get? By applying Snell's law, we will get what? Sin I by sin R equal to mu 1 to 2, so it will be mu 2 by mu 1, or this implies mu 1 sin I equal to mu2 sin r, and as I and r are very small angle, so this implies you can write mu1 I equal to mu2 r. Clear? Applying Snell's law, I can write mu1 sin I equal to mu2 sin r, but the condition is all the angles are very small and the aperture is also itself small, because all rays are considered as the paraxial rays. So sin I can be replaced as only I and sin r can be replaced as r. So mu1 I equal to mu2 r, and the value of I will be this much and value of r will be this much. So from this equation I can write mu1 in place of I can write alpha plus gamma, angle alpha plus gamma, equal to mu2 in place of r I can write beta plus gamma, angle beta plus gamma. Clear? Now I can replace the alpha beta gamma value from these equations. So I can write now alpha beta gamma will be this much. So the relation will become how much? Mu1 alpha, in place of alpha I can write an by op, plus in place of gamma I can write an by cp, equal to mu2 into, in place of beta I can write an by ip, plus in place of gamma I can write an by cp. Clear? Taking common n from both sides, it will get cancelled. So this implies I can write mu1 by op plus mu1 by cp equal to mu2 by ip plus mu2 by cp. So now again OP, O is the object and P is the pole, so OP is the object distance, and as rays are travelling from towards right, it will be measured from pole towards left, so it will be minus u. Again, what is IP? IP is the image distance, again the image is measured towards left from the pole, so it will be minus v, and here CP is the radius of curvature which is measured along the direction of incident ray, so it will be plus r. So replacing the value of OP, CP and IP, we will get mu1 divided by OP is the value of image object distance, that is minus u, plus mu1 by CP, that is radius of curvature, plus r, equal to mu2 by IP, that is image distance, minus v, plus mu2 by CP, that is plus r. Again by rearranging this, we will get what? By rearranging this, we will get mu2 by v minus mu1 by u equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. The expression is same as that of previous one, where mu2 is the refractive index of the medium into which the light is going in, mu1 is the refractive index from which the light is coming from, v is the image distance, u is the object distance, and r is the radius of curvature of the spherical refracting surface, and all are replaced with their sign during application of this formula in numerical solutions. Okay, v, u, r are all taken according to the sign convention. Clear? So this is the condition when object is in rarer medium but image is virtual, and the previous one is the case object in rarer medium and image is real. In both the case, you have to remember that first of all we have to draw the ray diagram, then the angle I and r we have to consider, then the angle made by the incident ray will be alpha with principal axis, angle made by the refracted ray with principal axis will be beta, like this, and angle made by the normal or radius of curvature with principal axis will be gamma. Then in form of alpha, beta and gamma, we have to express the incidence angle I and refracted angle r. Then we have to draw a perpendicular to the principal axis, and according to tan alpha, tan beta, tan gamma, we have to find out the alpha, beta, gamma expressions. Then we have to apply Snell's law, which will be equal to mu1 sin I equal to mu2 sin r, and as all rays are paraxial, all angles should be very small, that's why sin I can be replaced by I and sin r can be replaced by r, and from the relation of I and r in terms of alpha, beta and gamma, we can rewrite the Snell's law in form of mu1, mu2, alpha, beta and gamma. Then by applying the values of alpha, beta, gamma in terms of u, v and r, we can get the relation. Clear? This method is applicable for all the cases. the ray diagram only varies a lightly, but all the expressions and symbolical representation will remain same. Clear? Next we are going to the case 3. What will be the case 3? Here we already studied two cases in which object is in rarer medium, for which virtual and real image is found. Now we will study object is in denser medium. Okay, case 3 for the same convex refracting surface. Case 3, refraction through convex spherical refracting surface, object in denser medium. Object in denser medium, image form is real. Okay, this is the third case, object in denser medium and image is real. So now we have to draw the diagram first. So this is the spherical refracting surface which is convex in nature. This is the principal axis. Okay, let the name be M, P, M dash, and as in this case object is in denser medium, so here is the object O. Let this is the center of curvature C. Clear? So now we have to draw the incident ray. So this is the incident ray which is travel along this direction, let it be I. Clear? And as this is the center of curvature, so the normal will be this one, NC, and this is mu2, this is mu1. Here mu2 is greater than mu1. Object is in denser medium, image is in real image, that's why this is the incident ray, this is normal. So after refraction, when light rays pass from denser to rarer medium, it will bend away from normal. So the path will be like this, but will bend away from normal, so it goes like this. So this is the image, real image, which is formed by the refracted ray. Now we have to draw a perpendicular from this point to the principal axis. Let the point be A and this is N, 90 degree, and the angle made by the incident ray with the principal axis will be what? Alpha. So this angle will be alpha, this angle will be beta, and this is the normal, this angle will be gamma. And the incident ray and normal, this much angle is I, and the refracted ray and normal, this angle will be R. Clear? So in this figure we will get what? The in right angle triangle, first of all we have to consider a right triangle taking center of curvature, object and point of incidence. So the triangle will be AOC. AOC. In this triangle, gamma is the exterior angle which will be equal to I plus alpha. So in triangle AOC, gamma is the exterior angle which is equal to I plus alpha. So this implies you will get I angle equal to how much? Gamma minus alpha. Clear? Let this be equation 1. Similarly, in the triangle ACI, this is the exterior angle R. R will be equal to gamma plus beta. So in triangle AIC, R is the exterior angle which is equal to gamma plus beta. Clear? Let this is the equation 2. Now draw a perpendicular AN on the principal axis. So in the right angle triangle ANO, in right angle triangle ANO, we have to write tan alpha. Tan alpha equal to AN by ON. And same for all these cases, alpha, beta, gamma, I, R are very small, and aperture is also small. So this is the condition. So as I alpha are small, aperture is small, so alpha can be replaced by tan alpha, can be written as alpha which is equal to AN divided by ON can be written as OP. Similarly, tan beta in triangle ANI can be written as AN by IN, which can be written as simply beta equal to AN by IP. Similarly, tan gamma in the right angle triangle ANC will be equal to AN divided by CN, or this can be written as only gamma equal to AN by CP. Clear? So this is the expression for alpha, beta and gamma, and this is I and R. Clear? Now we have to apply what? Snell's law. So according to Snell's law, mu1 sin I, here it will be light travels from mu2 to mu1, so it will be mu2 sin I equal to mu1 sin R, because the light travels from 2 to 1, that's why mu2 sin I equal to mu1 sin R. As I and R are small, so we can write mu2 I equal to mu1 R. Clear? So this implies we can write mu2 in place of I can write gamma minus alpha, angle gamma minus angle alpha equal to mu1 into, in place of R I can write gamma plus beta, so angle gamma plus angle beta. Clear? Now I can replace the value of gamma, alpha and beta. So what is the value of alpha, beta and gamma? Here alpha equal to AN by OP, so this implies I can write mu2 into gamma equal to AN by CP minus alpha equal to AN by OP equal to mu1 into gamma equal to AN by CP plus beta equal to AN by IP. AN taking common will get cancelled, so it will become how much? So this can be written as mu2 by CP minus mu2 by OP equal to mu1 by CP plus mu1 by IP. Clear? So what is CP? CP is the radius of curvature. So as it is measured from the pole towards the left and incident ray are going along right, so CP will be minus R. Again, OP also measured opposite to the direction of propagation of incident ray, so it will be minus U. OP will be minus U, and IP is measured along the direction, so it will be plus V. So now replacing all this will be with sign convention, mu2 by CP will be minus R, minus of mu2 by OP, that is plus mu2 by U, equal to mu1 by CP, that is minus R, plus mu1 by IP, that is V. Clear? So now rearranging it, we will get what? So now rearranging this, we will get mu1 by V minus mu2 by U equal to mu1 minus mu2 by R. Okay, mu1 by V minus mu2 by U equal to mu1 by R minus mu2 by R. So mu1 minus mu2 by R. So this will be the expression for the third case, when object is in denser medium and image will form in real. Clear? So here mu1 is the refractive index of the medium into which the light is going. mu2 is the refractive index of the medium in from which the light is coming. V and U are the image distance and object distance, and R is the radius of curvature of the spherical refracting surface. During numerical solving, you have to put all these values with due sign convention. Clear? You have to remember mu1 in this case will be the refractive index of the medium into which the light ray is going in, and mu2 for this case is the refractive index of the medium from which the light is coming from. So in general, in this formula you have to remember mu by V. Mu is the refractive index to which light is going, divided by V, minus mu is the refractive index of the medium from which light is coming, divided by U, equal to mu from to which light is going minus mu from which light is coming, divided by R. Clear? This expression will be this much. So case 3 will be what? Refraction through convex spherical refracting surface when object placed in denser medium and image form is real. Clear? So these are 3 cases in spherical refracting surface. In next class we will discuss further or next 3 cases, in which the next case will be refraction through convex spherical refracting surface when image is virtual object in denser medium, and next 2 cases will be for concave spherical refracting surface. Okay, thank you.